Hey, we're here with Bill Herlicka with Brewer Consulting Brewer. You're my first guest, Bill. Did you know that on my podcast?
Uh, Ancient history. These days, was it pre-pandemic and
Oh,
pandemic? Is that how we start measuring things now?
yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It was like a year and a half ago or something like that. I think that
Yeah.
we first started. We did the first episode, and I'm like, hey, let's go. I hear a lot of breweries that are in trouble. They do these surveys, and almost half of them are like, look, if this continues like this, we're just not going to survive, which is very alarming, with a lot of craft brewers. And I know a lot of them close tap rooms, and and I figure I get you on because you have good ties with these breweries, and you're probably getting a lot of people reaching out to you. So what are you seeing out there in terms of the craft beer industry?
Well, what we're seeing is a hybrid. It's some turn to the pre-tap room model where you package it and you sell it to go. Um, we're seeing technology. A lot of states, governors have, as part of their executive orders for the social distancing, they've included provisions expanding rights to sell alcohol for brewers, for distillers, for winemakers, even for restaurants and retailers. Um, what it has done, it's allowed some places to really see a surge in what's going on because they have the infrastructure to be able to package. You're seeing some places try to do a really fast pivot when they weren't really set up or funded for it. You're seeing people that are willing to use the more expensive ordering software platforms and having really good success. You're seeing people trying newer platforms that may have been set up very recently, and
Hmm.
those platforms do not have the bandwidth to be able to handle what's going on for volume. So it's a challenging time. It's an opportunistic time,
Yeah.
but it's a very harsh time too.
Mm. I know a lot of breweries a lot of the models, especially the smaller breweries, their models are the tap room. That's where they make all the money. And when you shut the tap room down, you got a problem. Now you have to go to package it, and if you're not set up for packaging, you gotta figure it out.
Well, it's
You know,
not even just if you're set up for packaging. If you're set up on a 7 barrel brew house and you've got a 100-seat tap room, your cash flow should be pretty good. Um, if you don't have all the bartenders and all the staff, you think, well, this should be great, except 7 barrels is not a lot of beer. And the last 3 years of commercial real estate, we've seen rents really increase across the board. So your sales to go may be okay, but once we take out what labor you are paying plus packaging, you're not seeing anywhere near the margin that you did by the glass. And
oh yeah.
that's the real problem most places are facing, and they aren't
Mhm.
talking about it the way they should.
Right. I mean, the margins are decreased. I mean, I know I got into canning, which was insane, because I was a smaller, I was like 7 barrel. But I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know what to do. I mean, my model was these 22-ounce bottles. That's why I jumped into it. I'm like, hey, I can do this. And then I got a distributor, and we were distributing. It was awesome, cranking out the beer. Then we got into cans, and then, all right, now I need to buy like 3,000 cans at once. And I need not just the cans, I need the lids. I need something to seam the lids on. I need also these snap pack things, right, to put on top, the 4 snap pack thing, which I have to buy. And I also have to buy a cardboard, container to house these cans so that I can deliver them to stores, right? So it just, it just increased and then the labor, because I didn't have a canning line. We kind of, was a makeshift canning line. We kind of built one out of like Blickman guns. I mounted them to a board, and we were doing 4 at a time. And I had sensors underneath, which would, because they were overflowing. So I had to figure out the weight of the cans as they would fill up and shut it off. Like, it was crazy.
Mhm.
So by the time you get all the packaging and all the labor involved, I just made no money out, and I think that was, margins are in the tap room are great. You just put, you have a handle, you just pull the handle forward, you fill a glass, you give it to someone, you drink it, wash that glass, and it's ready to go again. And that's what we're focusing in on in terms, and then the margins there would be great, 70%, which is the way you should run a business,
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But, I go back to rent. Most states, supported by Congress as well, there's been a lot of support to suspend rent payments.
Yeah.
But that sounds great in a 30-second highlight on the news as it goes across the screen. But what they don't say is there isn't any sort of guidelines on what to do for that lump sum of money. So now you get a whole bunch of businesses that are out there. It's happening on a personal level for many people too. And once we get a green light to go back to full open, there's going to be a big sum of money a lot of people are going to be staring at. And, it's really important, I think, if you're a small business, you got to be talking to your landlord. You got to be talking to all your creditors. You're not in a unique situation, but you have to have a plan. And if you're not talking, and this is advice to anybody who's listening, talk. Have a plan, because if things crash or things open up again, but your revenue is flat, and you don't have a way to get enough revenue to just jumpstart your business, then it may not be a good outcome.
No, I think communication is key. If you're going to talk, you got to talk to your lenders. You got to talk to your, landlord, because that's the bulk of your outflow, aside from payroll,
Right.
the cash. So it is, and I'm in New York, but I heard Sunday River tried to open again, Sunday River Brewing Company. You probably heard about that, but he just said, it's screwed. The main governor said you cannot open until June. He's like, I'm opening. So he opened May 1st. And then they came in that day. They heard that he opened. They came in that day and they revoked his licenses. So
Yeah, no, I heard about it.
It's just a bad situation, for a lot of businesses that want to open again. And, is it really warranted? I mean, should we keep these things shut? I mean, they're in Maine, right? I mean, they're on a mountain in Maine. I mean, what? I just look at the whole COVID thing, and I think it is there. People have died from it. It's great, but when is enough, and when can we kind of open it up? And I think a lot of people, you're seeing this in different states too. They stormed the Michigan Capitol. You got guys in Texas like opening their stores, and they're standing in front of them with guns, just saying we're open. And California, the governor wants to close the beaches because everybody's going to the beaches, and the police department is like, nope, we're not closing them, sorry. So you see a lot of resistance, and I mean, what are you seeing out there? And you probably have talked to a lot of brewers, and I guess they're very frustrated in this whole thing.
Well, I think you have to break it down. There's a lot you just packed in one big sentence. I mean, take a step back. When in our lifetimes has the world ever shut down?
No, never.
It hasn't. I mean, we went through the Great Depression. The 2008-2009 Depression was bad financially. And I could put a number of sources up to support that, as the Great Depression. We survived. The world didn't shut down. This shut the world down.
Yeah.
regardless of what you think, this has never happened before.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go and we say, well, you're a business and you want to open. You have licenses, you have permits. If you manufacture alcohol, if you sell alcohol, whether it's for on-site or to go, you have additional layers of permits. You have insurance. So a prudent view says the state has control of your licenses. If you want to go out in a blaze of glory, I suppose get on the news, be a martyr, have fun. They pulled the licenses for the guy in Sunday River.
Yeah.
And then he went and decided to do it again. You know.
Did he open again? Did he do it again, or without a license? Or
I kind of stopped following him. You know, it's hard to watch someone that seems to some reason want to self-destruct like that.
in that case, he's probably going to be arrested because he's selling alcohol without a license, I think.
You know, these are the real things that you have to start to deal with. Are you ready to be arrested? Do you have money for lawyers? Do you think you're suddenly going to be, you know, the fan of the GoFundMe circuit and get people to donate money because you decided to run afoul of the law? Right now, because things are shut down and there's governor's orders on these things, you have financial and legal protections. So if you want to defy those and risk your license, risk loss of insurance, risk all the ramifications that could happen, that's your right. And I think, you know, separate out every other aspect of it. These are reasonable things you need to think about.
Some people have done that, and they've defied the governors in states, and they were thrown in jail. But then, like, there's a lady in California, actually, was she in California? I forget. But she opened her beauty salon. I think it was Texas or something. Like, she opened her beauty salon.
Right.
Yeah, she opened her beauty salon, and the police came in and shut her down and took her in. She was in front of a judge, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm opening my business. I want to open my business." And you know, and the judge asked her, if I let you go, are you going to open your business again? She's like, "Yes, I'm going to open it again." It's like they're in jail, and then one thing led to another, and they let her out of jail. I mean, there was some other court that got involved and said, "You can't do that," because this is an overreach. I think, you know,
Well,
there's a certain point.
Hang on, Mike. Yeah.
Go ahead.
There's 3 women in a similar situation in Texas. One woman in Dallas ended up getting out. She had a big GoFundMe. She had a huge TV presence. Everything worked for her. There are 2 other women that are still in jail. So you can't, I don't want to get into analyzing individual people in the news. You know, because a beauty salon has nothing to do with beer. If you want to talk about the brewing industry and what I do and what I think, I'm more than happy to. There's too many instances and too many industries.
Yeah, I see this as a parallel. I don't know, because it's just, you know, can a state really say, well, I mean, in terms of, like, looking at it logically, they give you a license to operate. And if you're going to defy the state license and liquor board and governor, they have the right to take that license away, you know.
So, but here's the thing. If you have no cash and you didn't get your federal $1,200, if you're still waiting on state unemployment, if your state did not allow you as a self-employed person to wind up filing for unemployment, I certainly understand the concern, and I understand the stress of running out of money and saying, what do I do? So if you say, what would you do at that point, Bill? I'd say you can't generalize. I'd say you have to look at each person, and you have to say, is this a viable business? Is it going to be viable to pick up in 30 to 60 days? There are a lot of jobs out there that need to be filled today, but they're not jobs that necessarily everyone wants to do. That's why they're open. So if you're hungry, you know, churches, synagogues, mosques, food pantries, there's a lot of sources. If you're run out of money and you're worried about rent and your business isn't going to be opened, or if you've got limitations on it where you can't open, then you need to have a real serious heart-to-heart with whoever is important to you to talk to and talk about how do you find the next step forward. Because unfortunately, the worst thing you can do is not suspend your business, not close your business, not use bankruptcy rights to wipe out debt, not take a loan to move your business forward. The worst thing you can do, and it's the easiest thing to do, is to get overwhelmed and shut down.
Mm.
And so, you know, to anyone that might be watching this, I get the stress. I get, what do you do? You may never have experienced anything like this in your life. What you need to do is figure out how to stop, assess, write some things down, put a list. You know, if you have a spouse, if you have a close friend, if you have a business mentor, call the SBA and Small Business Administration. They have mentors. There are a lot of people out there that can be a resource. The hardest thing to do is to just stop, get up, and work on something positive. Turn off the news.
Yeah.
The death rate's going to go up today. Turn off the news. You know what's going to happen. Focus on you and find something positive.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. So yeah, I wanted to get you on quick. I said, let me get Bill on and see what he thinks. I haven't talked to him for a while. There's a lot of stuff that's happening in the beer industry, and I see it. They canceled the CBC, and you know, the GABF apparently is still going on. I talked to somebody at the Brewer Association, but we'll see what happens with that. But they canceled Oktoberfest, which is like, oh my God, it's in October. So, but you never know what's going to happen. But I wanted to get you back on, see what your views are on the whole thing. And I guess you have to look at it on a case-by-case basis, and you know, act logically. If you do stuff like, if a governor says don't open, I have your license. And you do open. I mean, that's the risk that you take, you know. And you could go to corporate, like you said. You need money to do that. You know, you go fund me, great, but you know, yeah.
The business I sold equipment to 3 years ago has folded. The owner called me and asked me for advice. And, you know, we talked for a few. I told him a couple of websites that he could look at to go try to sell his stuff on. And it was on the house advice. I mean, it's not, you want to see, I always want to see people successful. I want people reach their goals. I understand being a business owner myself. They made the choice for them that it wasn't worth pushing forward. So conversely, last night I was on the phone with a friend of mine talking about his brewery. Their sales through distribution have doubled, but they had all the equipment to be able to do it.
Right.
So, you know, it's a very mixed market, but again, there's no general rule I can give you for anybody. Yeah,
no, there isn't. It's a case-by-case basis. So you have to assess what their situation is and where they are. But I appreciate you being on, Bill. It's awesome. I'm glad you took the time out. I know you had some limited time, but how can people get a hold of you if they have questions and they want to kind of just throw some things at you and see what you think about it?
Sure. My website is brewerconsultingbrewer.com. 3 words. Bill at brewerconsultingbrewer.com. Send me an email. Certainly happy to talk to anybody that would like to chat. My goals are always trying to figure out how to help people reach their goals. I've been making beer since 1994. I had my own brewery for almost 8 years before I sold it. I've been helping brewers for the last few years. I've even had the opportunity to go to Kenya to assess a 10-year-old brew pub.
Wow.
An acquisition they wanted to make down there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, wow. You helped me too. We tried to open a brewery in Salem, Massachusetts, and that blew up. But you were a
We
lot
had
very
some
helpful.
fun.
Hey, guess what? Maybe there's an opportunity in Salem. I don't know. I have to look at this again. They say when blood runs in the streets, you have to look at things again and see, if there's an opportunity, but you never know.
Well,
Right?
look at you. You've got did I see a few times one of the top podcasts on the Apple iPod list?
I mean, we're up there, we're up there. We're in different countries now too. I mean, total, since I started, I have over 20,000 downloads of the episode. So it's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. And you
I
got
think as
the Brewers Association last year.
we got the Brewers. Yeah, we had people from the Brewers Association. I had some other guests on, and hopefully I get to the GABF. I'm talking to a local brewery here. We might take one of my beers and make it there and then enter it in, like do stuff like that.
So,
So,
see, just like I was saying, you're a great example. You found success. You found a new way to have success. And now people are listening to you around the world.
this is good.
This house that's listening to me right now.
All right, man. Okay, well, I appreciate you being on. I know you got to jump on another call, so I won't let you go. But it's awesome, man. And we'll have a beer. I got to see you again one day, and we'll grab a beer.
All right. Good to see you.
All right, I appreciate you, man. Okay, thank you.
Bye.